Okay, so I've neglected these reviews for a bit, but I've seen a bunch of great films since then, and 2021 was a great year for cinema. After all, this was the year when movies came back, and based on what I have seen, they are here to stay. Thank goodness. So, I'm taking the chance to pay tribute to my favorite movies of the year, from what I've seen anyways. I know there are a lot of great flicks that probably could have made this list that I did not get the chance to see yet, so take my opinions with a pinch of salt. Also, I'm giving each film a score based on two criteria: how much artistic merit I think the film has, and how entertaining I found it. These scores didn't affect my ranking in any way, I just think they're useful tools in determining which kind of movie is best for what kind of mood. Don't take them too seriously, they're mostly for my own purposes. I cannot believe this one just narrowly made my list. The Green Knight is a modern-day cinematic odyssey. Sort of. The Green Knight is a thematically rich subversion of the hero's journey. Kind of. Look, David Lowery is a madman, and I'm scared. Before our very virgin eyes, David Lowery, with all the composure of the Riddler on cocaine, rips the original Arthurian legend out of its bed, tears out its innards, dunks the giblets in Fun Dip, and lovingly, a little too lovingly, stuffs the individual pieces back into the cadaver. That is the kind of movie The Green Knight is. At least that's what I felt after my first viewing. I've allowed The Green Knight to sit with me for a little longer, and though it is definitely weird and confusing, and when I watch it I feel like a small man, it would be shallow to simply dismiss the movie as weirdness for weirdness' sake, even if I struggle to scratch at whatever lies below its dense, wriggling surface. The Green Knight is not a movie for everyone. Heck, I'm not sure if it's even a movie for me, but nevertheless, it stuck with me. It really stuck with me. And even if its ambition is a little too lofty for my feeble peanut brain, I can respect the pure artistry that was put into the piece. The Green Knight masterfully poses as a high-budgeted, big studio piece, even when its budget is in actuality kinda small. This results in some legitimately impressive sequences to rival even this year's best. Every shot of this movie is gorgeously framed and thoroughly choreographed. Lowery confidently tells just jumbled up slinky of a tale with large strokes that still capture the infectious appeal of its medieval skin. There is a lot to love and admire here. Boom, baby! Steven Spielberg is the king of cinema, and he has reclaimed the throne with his take on the musical West Side Story. Every frame of this modern masterpiece is crafted with abundant love and skill. Spielberg captures the charms and extravagance of stage musicals, while using cinema to enhance the story in ways only cinema can. This is how movie musicals should be. The sets double as artistic playgrounds, and you can really feel the filmmakers playing around, finding new, creative shots like they're digging out trinkets from a sandbox. It's really a thrill to witness what, in the moment, often feels real time. I will admit, West Side Story is definitely not perfect. The main romance is easily the least engaging and most clumsily executed part of the movie, and consequently the movie can drag at points. No, don't leave, you're too pretty to get arrested for murdering my brother Uwu. Still, it is easy to disregard these lows due to its exceptional highs. It is capital M movie magic. Encanto is the best Disney movie since Zootopia, and it's not even close. Encanto is the epitome of the many talented minds behind Disney Animation Studios popping off on practically every cylinder. And I think it is worth repeating, there are many, many talented minds at Disney. You just have to give them the space, freedom, and incentive to take risks and do their jobs. Mouse! I don't need to say the animation looks brilliant, nor is this an unexpected revelation by any means, but they do some really interesting stuff with the camera and the choreography that I barely see in other animated movies. These new tricks, though relatively mundane on the surface, do that much more to give the movie a kinetic, theatrical feel that, until now, had been missing, ever since Disney moved to CGI. Disney's back to that Princess and the Frog grade spectacle, and it's good to see that, even after 60 feature films and nearly a century of operation, there are people in the studio still willing to try new things. Besides, this is an S-tier Disney soundtrack. Lin-Manuel Miranda really pops off, leaning more into his own In the Heights Hamilton-esque musical style. Definitely my favorite Lin project this year. This is some of the most fun you will get out of any movie this year, but you should also bring some tissues, just in case. But The Mitchells vs. the Machines is still my favorite animated film of the year. I haven't seen Flea yet, but this is practically inevitable. The Mitchells is stacked. Sony Animations, you animals! They took the directors and animators behind Spider-Verse and scooped up a few Gravity Falls writers, and they hit frappe. What happens is you get the movie of my dreams, and The Mitchells absolutely lived up to my expectations. It's absolute, visually delightful mayhem from beginning to end, even before the robot stuff, because these characters are so entertaining, and the film itself maintains a consistently high energy. Despite that, The Mitchells never once forgets about the point of the film, the beating heart that defines the movie. The titular family, who seem to be drifting apart despite the dad's best efforts. The Mitchells vs. the Machines is the movie I've watched the most this year, and with every viewing I love it more and more. Licorice Pizza is the PTA's latest masterpiece. It's also a difficult movie to sell just by talking about it, but I can assure you its appeal and charm become abundantly clear the moment you start watching it. PTA makes 70s California into such an inviting and engaging world. He really sells the idea that these apparently mundane streets are a sort of magical place where you can encounter zany characters and get yourself into oddball situations around any corner. Licorice Pizza combines all the fun and fuzziness of an old sitcom while avoiding ever being too schlocky. PTA instills pure grade style in this otherwise basic, wholesome story, turning this from a normal kind of nice fun movie into a sweetly hypnotic experience. I forgot completely where I was while watching this movie. There's something about it that captured me and just wouldn't let go. It's something in the way he directs his actors, or moves a camera, or tinkers the words just right that is unmistakably enchanting for me. I just wish the ending wasn't so anticlimactic. Sometimes I'm a basic boy, and I like basic things. Spider-Man go brr. Oh? Spider-Man? Spider-Man No Way Home was clearly bound for success, nobody is denying that, but still, No Way Home tells a legitimately interesting, emotional, and kinetic Spider-Man story, finally combining the best elements of classic Spider-Man and Marvel's unique take on the character. This movie finds ways to push the envelope and liven this mega moneymaker. I think that deserves praise, because No Way Home is one of the most thrilling cinematic experiences I've had in my lifetime, and without spoiling too much if I can help it, this is Tom Holland's Spider-Man at his most engaging, pushed to his limits. This is everything Spider-Man is, pushed to its limits. Until we get Spider-Verse 2, baby! A24 was on fire this year. The drill of seeing Shakespeare adapted in any medium is the malleability of the original source material. You can take any Shakespeare play and twist it to fit in any setting, stuff it to fit into any sort of style, and make something entirely new out of the same story. Here, Joel Cohen takes art and makes art out of it. On the foundation of some phenomenal performances and the best cinematography of the year, every shot of the tragedy of Macbeth is gorgeous. The movie as a whole maintains a sort of ethereal, dreamlike quality that stays true to its source material, while somehow giving it a transcendent feel, as though I'm watching some sort of old-timey monster movie a la Dracula or Frankenstein. Yet, it feels beyond that in the same time, as though we're getting a peek at something beyond film, beyond humanity, beyond reality. If you do not like Shakespeare, then the tragedy of Macbeth is not going to do anything to change your mind. But I love Shakespeare, and for this reason, the tragedy of Macbeth was perfectly equipped to blow my mind. I just saw this one recently, just recently enough for it to squeeze into my script. But Macbeth is the kind of movie I can see myself revisiting over and over and over again, maybe with a cup of hot chocolate or covered in a blanket. Let's get the obvious statements out of the way. I like Dune, and while I'm at it, I also like chocolate, puppies, hearing myself talk, Hey Ya by Outkast, and breathing. But at the same time, Dune is undeniably one of the year's greatest cinematic triumphs. Denis Villeneuve gave us all the art house blockbuster epic I have been craving for so long, and he absolutely delivers, bringing the fantasy planet of Arrakis alive with stunning visual effects and stellar camera work. This is not the first time I've talked about Dune on this channel, and when I do my Best Picture nominees ranked video of 2022, I'm also sure this won't be my last, unless if something absolutely goes wrong, but I will never get tired of saying it. Dune is spectacular, in every sense of the word. Nightmare Alley is so good, guys. I've heard some people wonder who Nightmare Alley is supposed to be for. After all, the appeal of the movie is kind of difficult to peg. It's too fantastical to lure most critics, but too slow to appeal to general moviegoers. Who is this movie for? Me. Nightmare Alley was made for me. I commissioned Del Toro to make this movie for me on Fiverr. Hi there. While I haven't seen anybody else who likes Nightmare Alley this much, well, I just think everybody else is wrong. This movie is a stellar character study following a fake psychic, played by Bradley Cooper, who scrambles to crawl out of the circus he considers so lowly, only to get in over his head with a scheme that's more than he, nor his psychotherapist accomplice/mistress, can handle. The camera work, set design, and color are spot on, conjuring the modern-day Gothic noir film to define Gothic noir film. I've been craving a movie like Dune, but now I want more movies like this. Movies that just aren't afraid to be creative, interesting, and beautiful, and go all in on their unique concepts. Please give Nightmare Alley an honest shot. That ending, man, it gives me the chills. Best ending of the year. Okay, here are some honorable mentions. Luca, just a reliably likable movie. If you told me you did not enjoy Luca, I would be legitimately concerned for your health. Pig. If you are willing to engage with the deeper themes of Pig, you might find a thoughtful examination of grief, a narrative deconstruction of the typical John Wick vengeance films. If you're not, then you'll probably enjoy watching Nicolas Cage search for a pig for an hour and a half. That's pretty funny too. Judas and the Black Messiah. I stand by what I said when ranking last year's Big Picture nominees. Judas and the Black Messiah avoids all the trappings of a typical plain Jane biopic and makes something legitimately exciting and tragic and rage-inducing. Tick Tick Boom. Andrew Garfield gives my performance of the year. An emotional movie, musical, and directorial debut by Lin-Manuel Miranda that takes the trope of the obsessed artist and flips it, not quite on its head, but 90 degrees. It tilts it over. The harder they fall. This is a movie that will grow on me over time, I just know it. This movie is dripping in style, and it has an OP ensemble cast. I am not worthy. Inside, Bo Burnham gave me an absolutely bone-chilling experience with this experimental, existential, one-man show. Ever since I watched it for the first time, not a single day has passed when I haven't thought about it. Inside would be my number one if I counted it as a movie, and honestly, I am still not sure of whether or not I do. Now for my number one. It's difficult to describe what exactly The French Dispatch did to me, in a way that I haven't already described in my review, but it's certainly something. This is the most film any film has ever filmed. The French Dispatch takes the contents of a fictional magazine, sets it in a fictional small French town, and depicts all the words into a visual format. It uses every trick in the filmmaking book to replicate the feeling of reading an engrossing journalistic tale, and I mean everything. It covers the power of the written word and its ability to outlast time, to preserve thoughts, settings, and experiences. It covers the limitations of the written word, the little details words alone are not capable of filling in, like the taste of a really good meal, to the specific hue you see when looking into somebody's eyes. There's even the little moments when your imagination gets the best of you, they go with that too. Every performance fits this world like a glove, every frame is like a work of art hung on a museum wall. You can see all the rough edges of the filmmaking process, but that only adds to the experience. Wes Anderson is not afraid to embrace the artificiality of cinema, or the occasional rope, so to speak, hanging behind a curtain. It only makes it even more satisfying when you see the full thing come together. I admit, I don't think I quite stand by the 10 out of 10 I gave it in my review, but clearly I still think this movie's incredible. 2021 was no slouch when it came to cinema, and The French Dispatch stands above them all.